So now your village visit is comprising of two components. One is a core village visit. The other is an in-depth and first-hand experience about the implementation of a particular scheme. Okay? So in that you will be given a questionnaire. That questionnaire is just a kind of a ready reference for you. कि आपको उनमें से क्या क्या चीजें जानना अपेक्षित है. See, why we are doing all these things is, once you are back at academy, you have to give a detailed presentation about the scheme. And that scheme has to be presented during your visit to Kevadia in front of the Prime Minister. So hence, it assumes significant importance. So apart from the evaluation part, it assumes significant importance because all this work is going to be presented at Kevadia. So for the first time, we are using a shadowing technique. So what is shadowing technique? We have a small video. We have just tried to make a small video, but उसके अलावा shadowing का मतलब क्या है? Follow करना. Follow करना, पर follow करना कभी-कभी stalking भी हो जाता है. So how it has to be done? You have to be very sensitive about it. For example, suppose in case if you are following, you are shadowing an Anganwadi scheme. So आपको इस प्रकार से shadow करना है so that it should not feel कि as if somebody is following you or interfering in your day-to-day life, interfering in the work. वैसे ना करते हुए, what we expect is that you should actually dive deep about the implementation of the entire ICDS scheme from the eyes of Anganwadi worker or from the eyes of the beneficiary. So how she starts her day, how she ends the day, what all work she does, वहाँ पे beneficiary कौन आते हैं, कैसे आते हैं, everything has to be done.
Let's come to the village visit or the field research study briefing, field study and research program briefing right now. So everything that Shailesh has just spoken to you about, that is one part of the output of this study tour that you're going to be doing, right? So I'm going to take you through the second part of the output. So there are two things that you will be submitting, broadly two things. Other than that, I'll also take you through the logistics and what all you are expected to do there, okay? All right? So when we talk about villages, what are the standard things that come to our mind? Farms, poverty, what else? Things like this, issues of quality of life, problems of basic infrastructure, droughts, gram sabhas, Narega, like Shailesh just talked about it. All of this is correct, right? But you remember we had a whole day dedicated to the study, to the deconstruction, in the deconstruction module, to the rural life. And a lot of other things also came out, right? All of this, definitely. But there is a lot more to a village life, lot more complexities, lot more hierarchies, lot of cross-cutting identities, relationships, and a lot of times at cross purposes with each other. And a village life and its functioning is not always as romantic as sometimes it is made out to be, right? That is something that came out during the deconstruction day, but it's also something that many of you have lived in your experiences also. But even those who have those lived experiences, it is limited to where you belong, that particular state, or not even state, that particular district or taluk or tehsil or whatever, right? So in this context, why are we sending you to villages to study them? So you have to understand that the next two slides, guys, are the core, the crux of your entire visit for the next 10 days. Please pay attention, no matter how tired you may be. Okay, you've just, especially to these two slides, I want your full attention and catch on to what all I'm telling you, right? The reason that we're going to be sending you to these villages, the objective that we hope to achieve are these, okay? Firstly, to sensitize all of you to the rural life firsthand. Why? Because no amount of discussion in a classroom or reading the theory of what rural life is about can replace what you can understand by personal experience. Most of you are never going to actually have to go to a village as a part of your jobs. And even those who will have to go will not be spending more than a few hours or at best one night as a part of your tours. This is going to be the first and possibly the last time that you are going to be staying in a village for such a long period of time to get to know and understand it in its entirety. Okay? And this is something that our Honorable Prime Minister says very often, that you may know all the laws, all the rules, all the regulations. You may have passed all the exams, you may be very good at all the theoretical aspects, but you can never, ever be a good civil servant unless you know how a village functions, okay? And that goes for irrespective of service or which field or which area you're going to be working in. It is equally relevant for each and every one of you sitting in this room, okay? So we want to send you there to understand that life firsthand, deeply understand it, its social, political, economic, all the dimensions that you will get to see in a village in real time, in real life, okay?
We could convey through this exercise a sense of purpose, a sense of engaging, a sense of belonging. And you remember, I did mention to you when we started off on the 5th of September, that all of us represent a very, very minuscule minority of service. This is all that we have for this country. It is all that we have for this 1/5 of humanity, and you represent that for the next 35 years. So these days in the academy, we no longer use the phrase steel, Chavi is not here, she's not well, yeah. The phrase steel frame. It's a very beautiful expression we have started using. We call it the Bhavna Vriksh. Bhavna Vriksh. Collectively, what is it that we step out? We come in as individuals, right? We come in as individuals and we step out. We step out in two forms. We step out as individuals and we step out as a part of a collective. And that collective is this, your ability to pick up a phone and say, you know, after 15 years, after 20 years, 25 years, no matter where you are, we have a relationship. It is our responsibility. All the faculty, when I say I, it is not Srinivas or whatever. It is all of us. We have a responsibility to convey to you, to signal to you what are the core values that will take you long and what are those that will not take you long. And this is something we want to do in the next 15 weeks that you are here. And all of you, and that is why I love the expression that your course coordinator uses, my children. It is that. That is what it means. And therefore, when I come back to that thing, that when we are facing an existential crisis, the crisis is, why are we no longer respected when we step out? We must ask ourselves this, search our souls. And it starts with us. It starts with us. In the past, it was default different. By default, we were given a bank account. We were given a goodwill account, saying that no. So in a way, he was saying that you should represent something. And by default, it was given to us as a given, but no longer. We have to earn. We have to earn because over a period of time, our peers, we get dissimulated. There's a lot of mimicking that happens, and somebody else's wrong gets attributed to you. And therefore, I hate the word Babu. Last time when I spoke, not to you, but the previous batch, I had to tell them that I hate the word Babu. I am not a Babu. I am something else. Don't you dare call me a Babu. And that is why we want to call ourselves a Masuriwala Karma Yogi. Because we don't want to be branded. We don't want to be labeled. We don't want to be abused. We don't want to be called something that we do not deserve. So we have to have our own unique ethic. And what is the ethic? All of you will remember that this is one place where we pay for each and every one of our service. Correct? It's not a big deal for the academy to give you about 10 or 15 people so that the moment you come, your luggage can be shifted into your rooms. But all of you paid the 30 rupees. Why? $50? Good. So next year it should be 60. We should give more. No, I'm glad. No, the point is this. That is exactly the point. I'll tell you the impact. Last year when we discussed this, we used to do it by default, but we said we should reinforce this. We should re-emphasize this. And when this was done, 50 rupees when you gave out, it told your own soul that I am the master of my own fate. That I will not be purchased by a 50 rupee kind of a favor. Okay? So you will decide yourself what you are worth. And if there is no price on you, what do you become? You become priceless. Seriously, there are so many occasions when I had actually this conversation, when somebody, senior, I don't want to take names, they would come and, have this kind of very polite conversation, कि साहब कुछ कर सकते हो तो, कुछ हो तो बताना. And you know what it means. I said कि भाई तुम्हारे पास ऐसा कोई भी चीज़ नहीं है, which I need, or what I need that you can give. No chance, no matter what you have. You can never satisfy me because I am priceless. You will be priceless only when you set your own price, that you will not be purchased. And what does this whole thing begin? Where does it begin? It begins here. Begins with the 50 rupees, begins with the coffees we pay for, begins with the small things. So what we are trying to tell you is, please, and remember this all your life, the act of, and this I am repeating from last year, but I think it's a very powerful statement. Character is earned, built throughout your life. But it will be lost only once. Only once. How do we build this reputation? And the reputation is, it's like, standalone, of course, we'll have a reputation. It is the collective that is under challenge today. The why we are under challenge is there are lots of people outside who do not know what we stand for, who do not know what we represent, who do not know the kind of sacrifice and the amount of effort that you put in, because it is unknown. We are a big black box that outsiders just don't know how much you work. So we have to communicate, and we have to communicate. We tell you anonymity. So you please don't communicate it. This is what we have been telling last year onwards, and fortunately it's working. So we have been saying all your successes we will celebrate. Each and every one of you, whoever is, whatever you achieve, we will celebrate from this stage. We will put it out, and our Twitter account or whatever is must be one of the most active these days. And what do we celebrate? We celebrate this, that these officers have undergone this course. They have met so and so. This is the input that they are getting. These are the ones who have achieved top-notch rankings. So what has happened is, over a period of time, the reputation of our institution and the reputation of us as a collective is going up, because we are communicating now. 8th August, our colleague Purna Chokalingam, he's currently DG of ATI Maharashtra, Yashada. He came here and he said something very, very nice, which warmed my heart, and I'm sure it will warm the hearts of all of you, and particularly my colleagues here. He said, "Sir, I want to tell you something interesting." I said, "What?" He said, all these boys and girls from the previous batch, they came to us for training, and then they all came to me. They asked me a question. They said, "Sir, why aren't you charging us for the mess food? We don't want to eat free food." And then he said, that really conveyed to me the conviction and the values with which these young trainees are coming out. This, my friends, is what you are. This is what you should represent. So that every time you step out, one of you steps out, everybody outside should know that this person stands for this. Do not mess with him. Do not think lower of him. Do not think lightly of him. So the message we usually give, and last time also we did it, is that when you step out and you go into these villages, you are carrying with you, of course, your own, you're learning how to do it. It's very difficult initially to say no, Somebody brings you a cup of tea and it looks very, very bad. Sometimes it's actually very poor. He'd have actually done something and he'd have denied himself or his child or something for that milk. And then he brings it. And then you say, nahi, nahi peena hai. We might actually give an impression that we are being elitist, etc. But remember, do not take anything free in life. And the training starts tomorrow. The day you step into that bus, start paying for every small thing. Whether it is a cup of tea, a packet of biscuits, because all your life you will meet people who will be willing to pick up all these things. All your life, I can guarantee you, no matter what service you are in, no matter where you are posted, no matter how important job or unimportant, all your life you will be surrounded by somebody who will be brokering your integrity. And that is something you have to guard against. That will start only if you start paying for your service, paying for every small thing. When you step out, you are representing the dignity of all of you collectively. You will represent the dignity of this institution, and you will represent, I think, the resurgence of the civil service. What is happening now is we are fighting back. We are pushing back very hard, believe me. And I'm fighting. All of us are fighting every day. Many things we will not be able to tell you now, but few years later we'll tell you. In every forum we are fighting, this is stigmatization. We are fighting this challenge that is coming. We will discuss it in different ways. But that can succeed only if each one of you represent the values that we are espousing here. When you step out, and this has been the experience, and all of you will come back with powerful stories. Last year we heard all your colleagues, just 1 year senior to you, when they came back and they said, when we went to the village, we found that they just could not afford to do their own thing. But while we were there, those 3 or 4 days, the best of food was getting cooked. So what was happening is something was getting diverted from the Anganwadi. Something was happening from somewhere else. And then when we started paying for it or started refusing it, then the whole mindset of that village changed. And many of them came back and saying, they said, we were asked, कि सर हर महीने आइए एक बार, आप जब आते गांव सुधर जाता है. This is what we want all of you to come back with, these stories that will start building your character, your personalities. Your personality for the world is getting made, but your personality for the rest of you is also getting made in these 100 days. This is you as a civil servant. Nobody cares what you were as a student, what you were before you came to, before 23rd of August, what you were, really nobody cares. But after 23rd, your official personality starts building. And these are the small things. Remember that you have to acquit yourself every time, build your personality, build your reputation, build your brand, so that when you get that, when you see that name, you say, oh, so-and-so stands for this. And I would like that each and every one of you should be so good that the group itself will have that kind of a stellar brand. So best wishes to all of you. Have a great time. Make us proud.